Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast.
Now back to Studio A and the award-winning Scott Michlin morning program on KSJE.
And my guest on the program, as I mentioned, part of Oxford House, Jeremiah Penland is here. He is an outreach worker with Oxford House. Good morning. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Good morning, Scott. Thank you very much for having me here.
You bet. Appreciate you being here to learn more about the work that you do and the work that Oxford House does in the community. And so talk to me a little bit about being an outreach worker and the work of Oxford House. You help to open houses in the communities where you work, yes?
Yes. As a matter of fact, as Oxford House, what Oxford House is, and
Right.
I'll give the three things, which is what is Oxford House, what is it for, and why is it needed?
Mm-hmm.
And so the main purpose of Oxford House is to provide that environment for anyone in recovery from substance use disorder and alcohol misuse disorder, in order to have a place where they can recover and safely with others that are doing the same. And as far as my job, what I do is I look for those homes, and I'll find whatever is viable in the community by talking to landlords, reaching out to investors, and just connecting with the community to find out, these nice homes in these nice neighborhoods. And, is there enough bedrooms? Is there enough space? Is it good parking? Is it in a good neighborhood? Is it close to bus routes and such? And although that Oxford House might not be for every single person, but it is there for people that are ready to learn that new responsibility, to learn to hold others accountable as well as themselves, and then also when they are recovering, to offer that support to the newcomers that come in. And so the fostering of Oxford House here in Farmington started with one house, and it was a men's house. They currently hold 10 individuals, and each house is self-supportive. It means that each person pays an equal amount of share in order to be financially self-supported, to pay the landlord the rent, to pay the utilities, house supplies, whatever it may be. And it all goes into a checking account that's under the name of the house. Mm-hmm. Okay. And from that point, what I do other than open up houses is I provide technical support, training, and education to the members that are living in the house. And when they move in the house, whether they are new or if they've been around for a little while, I still provide that same training and education and support when the houses are needing of that direction or guidance, although I don't manage. But I will give, whatever they need as far as, how do we go about doing this, or how do we go about doing this? And I always revert to the manual. And we do have an Oxford House manual that each house gets in supply for members to be able to read and to follow. And it gives the basic instructions on the operations of Oxford House according to our traditions and our model.
Okay.
And once one house opened, which was the first one, that house built up a checking account on their own, and they sent an extra fund to helping to open up a new house. And with the revolving loan fund that we do with the states, that they had given a check to help open up a new house. And then as houses do that, they pay that loan back after about a year. And this first house sent extra money to this house so they can get furniture, they can get house supplies, and potentially help those coming in that didn't have that fund for the first or second week.
Nice.
And so that really helped out to foster that support.
Right. Very good. And so in Farmington and San Juan County, there are 5 houses?
There are 4 houses currently.
4.
3 men's houses and 1 women's and children's house. All 3 men's houses hold 10 individuals each, and the women's and children's holds 7 individual women and 2 women with children. And those bedrooms are specifically for women with 1 child each.
Right.
But we are working really hard and really strongly to continue to expand and see just what the community needs and where we can help.
And I was interested when we were talking before we came on the air this morning about how these houses are all kind of run by the people that live there. There's really not any Oxford House manager or house mother or father or anyone like that kind of manages it. They all kind of take responsibility, or are supposed to, right, to manage their own affairs and contribute to the well-being of the entire household, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And so part of the manual that teaches it says, let me go back to this.
Sure.
So we have a brochure, and which I'll be leaving here, so that anyone that wants to look at that from here.
Right.
We have a 3 charter rule for every single house, and as OHI, Oxford House Inc., we provide that charter in order for the house to operate. Mm-hmm. And those 3 rules are that first, it must be democratically run, which means every member gets a vote, every member has a voice, and they do everything equally, and they vote on everything. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that it must be financially self-supporting, meaning that every member has to pay their equal share in order for the house to continue to operate and continue to be open with the landlord and continue to stay in a pace of continuation. And then third, that anyone who returns to using substances or back to drinking alcohol must be expelled immediately. And so with that, the houses have that guidance and know that, this is what we have to do in order to keep our charter, which is essential in order for a house to stay open.
Sure.
And if a house has trouble following that charter, that's where the support comes in. I come in with some technical support, and I don't manage and I don't tell them what to do, but I give them suggestive guidance. And yes, some houses make mistakes, but we give them that chance to grow. Because again, these are individuals coming into recovery that had a life, it's indescribable. But they're coming into a life that they don't know. And so some of the things that they're required to do as far as relearning responsibility and accountability and progression in their life is new to them. And so it's not expected for someone to change and someone to be perfect, much less a house as a whole. So when we go provide that support, we sit with the individuals and we talk about what is the issue, and we spend very little time on the issue because we want to go straight to a solution. And we want to provide where everyone in the house is comfortable with what we have come to an agreement with. And again, they make the decisions. I just offer the suggestion, but they vote on what is the best for the house. And overall, the welfare of the house comes first.
Right.
And so that protects the house. And it also keeps a standard in the house for each individual to kind of get up to. And again, it's a step-by-step process, but as outreach, I go in there and provide that support. And as each individual starts growing, they help the next individual grow. And the more they do that, the stronger their house gets.
Right. And with the group in the house that are all there living together and contributing to the household, they are all there. You were telling me there's really no time frame. Folks can stay as long as they feel they need to stay at an Oxford House, right, as they're putting their lives back together and becoming clean and sober and things like that. And so you may have folks that are brand new to the Oxford House, and you may have folks who've been there for 6 months, a year, who knows. But folks are all in that kind of environment together, and that, I imagine, would be helpful.
Yes, absolutely. So as a matter of fact, on a national scale, we have an 87% success rate for long-term sobriety,
right?
For people that live in Oxford House for at least 11 to 13 months. Now the whole heart of Oxford House is what happens on the inside, and that's where people start getting to know each other. That's where people feel like they're family, and that's really the core of it, is that family dynamic. Because it is a single family home, it's not a facility, and there's no staff, there's nothing needed as far as the outside to manage the inside. Since they do it themselves, that's what has made it successful, because they lean more towards conceding to the authority of the house as a whole, more than what a person would towards a single authority. And we know, as myself being a recovering alcoholic and addict, I had trouble with authority, but in my experience, getting into recovery and moving into an Oxford House, I started seeing the group as an authority. And once I started accepting that, it made it easier for me as a newcomer to understand that this authority is needed, and I also respected it. And so it helped me to grow in my life within the community and become a better citizen, and helped me to see that other individuals are just trying to live their life just as I am, and just to be a part of life and to live life as on life's terms.
Right. And from your experience, if you don't mind sharing, from being in an Oxford House situation and facility, did having that authority, but also being a part of that authority, help you with your I guess recognition?
Absolutely. So, and I see this on a daily basis, because we do have 4 houses here, and I often visit the houses, just to see how they're doing, and I also sit in their house meetings that they have once a week. Mm-hmm. And again, not to micromanage or anything, but just to sit there and listen and watch these people grow. And the experience I've seen when someone is given, even including myself, when someone is given that responsibility to hold someone else accountable, and with the group, that changes an attitude of saying, I'm not only participating, but now I have stepped up in my life to where now I have this responsibility to use my voice and say either yes or no on something. And one person's voice could sway the vote one way or the other, because it is democratically run. Right. And with everything, as far as what's voted in the House, everyone gets a vote, and 51% or more wins the vote, which is 50% plus one person. Mm-hmm. Except for accepting new individuals, which that, according to our manual, says that 80% or more must say yes in order to accept an individual, which is important, because having someone come into the new house, or new that comes into the house, they want to know that they are accepted by the majority of the group.
Right.
And it's also essential in order for that family dynamic to be fostered. But even if an individual doesn't get accepted, it's not, in my experience, ever personal. It's just they didn't get 80% vote. Maybe they would work better at another house. But there's no discrimination. It doesn't matter where they've been, what they've done, who they are, and what their recovery plan is. The only requirement, again, is just that they are sober, and that they have, a want to stay sober. And so.
Sure. And I guess, too, that desire to contribute to the well-being of the house and the household, right? They have to have some ability to maybe get a job to be able to contribute
Yes.
to the expenses of the household, I suppose, right?
Yes, absolutely. So, as a matter of fact, when the house is established, each one, they have at least 5 to 6 individuals who have positions in the house, which there are 6. There's a president that's voted in, mm-hmm. a secretary that takes the minutes, a treasurer who helps track the checks that are going out from the house account and then the money coming into the account, a comptroller that keeps a track of each person's individual equal share that they have owed to the house,
right?
Which is on a weekly basis, and then they also have a coordinator who chooses who's going to do what chore and make sure that everybody is being responsible in the house. And then they also have the sixth position is the housing service representative. And what they do is they go to the other Oxford houses here and they go sit in their house meetings and they go listen to how they're running their meeting. And they also go to the chapter meetings, which is where all the houses come together for one meeting a month. They also have a housing services committee meeting, which the houses come together once a month for that as well. The housing services committee is internal, which is how the houses are doing on the inside. You know, how is the health of the interior of the house as far as the individuals with one another and the operations of the home. And the chapter is more so for how's the house doing financially. And, you know, should we do some fundraisers? Should we do more to kind of embed the checking account by getting some more donations from the houses, so that we can put on unity events and maybe do some events for the community. But that all goes back to the individuals, and each individual is encouraged to be their self. You know, it's not a hive mind, it's not anything like that. But there is one common purpose, and that is to maintain sobriety, but not just sobriety, but comfortable sobriety.
Sure. How long do folks normally stay at an Oxford house? Is there an average of the
Yes.
amount of stay that they're there?
So the average is between 9 months to 2 years.
Okay.
And some individuals stay 5+ years.
Sure.
And again, it's
But there's no limit,
encouraged.
as you told me, right? They can stay as
Right.
long as
Yeah,
they
they
feel
can
they want
stay
to.
there as long as they are paying their part.
Right.
That they're staying sober, and that they're not causing a disruption to the house.
Got it.
Which again, the house would vote on if that is being done.
Sure. Yeah, very true. And so I guess here's an odd question maybe, but I was just curious. You know, what happens if somehow the house or someone in the house decides we need a new couch? This couch
Right.
we have is looking a little worn. You know, it's seen a lot of use, and so does that go to like a house meeting, and there has
Yes.
to be consensus as
Absolutely.
to how to spend the household's money, I guess, for something new?
Yes, and so one of the primary functions of the house, again, is the democracy.
Yeah. Okay.
And so when somebody does have an idea, or they have anything, whether it's a concern, it's an idea, it's a, you know,
new piece
anything.
of furniture, whatever. Right. I guess. Okay.
They just bring it to the house, and the house will sit down. They'll have either if it's really urgent, they'll have an emergency meeting. But if it can wait till the weekly meeting date and time, then they have that meeting and they sit down and they discuss. Hey, we think we should get a new couch. And so what that individual, as long as that individual is not the president does not make motions, but they ask for motions.
Okay.
That person will say, I motion to spend however much it is to buy a new couch. And then someone would second that motion, say, I second that. And then the president would say, any opposed? All in favor? Any discussions?
Right, sure.
And so, and once everybody votes, whatever that is, if 50% plus one wins the vote.
Okay.
And so if 50% plus one says, let's get a couch, they're getting a new couch.
I got it. Very good. And so, but that's how it goes for all these
Yes.
different types of household decisions, I guess,
Yes,
right?
and whether it's who's going to be on what chore, which is done by the chore coordinator. But sometimes those things change. If a person is not really working out too well, maybe they're not physically able to mow the yard as well as someone else, and it's hurting their body or whatnot, then the house is going to come together and make sure that they have something that they can do. And they'll potentially, they don't really have to vote on that, but they can if they want. And say, we vote that he doesn't have to do any major physical activities due to his whatever it may be, to accommodate everyone in the home. And so there's no discrimination. We have veterans in the home. We have people on disability in the home. We have people that work in different kinds of parts of the industries, whether it's fast food to construction to going to college. And so no matter what it is, every single individual is part of that growth process and part of that decision making.
And it sounds to me like they all then are asked to contribute in their own way, whatever they're maybe able to do. If someone's
Yes.
physically able to do something, they can maybe do something else to contribute to the overall well-being of the household. And I guess, maintenance is an important part too, I guess, for these things, because these houses are in these established neighborhoods, and I guess you kind of want them to blend in with the neighborhood and the neighbor's house and
Yes.
things like that. If their lawns are finely manicured, you probably want to have an Oxford House lawn looking the same.
Yes, absolutely. And, when we look back at our history in Oxford House since 1975, Oxford House is one of the best neighbors that anyone can have, because these individuals not only care about their own lives, they care about each other, which makes them care about everything that they have. And you'll look around, and most of the time, an Oxford House is taking care of its yard. It's making sure to clean up, and it doesn't just work on, just enough. They love curb appeal. They love to take care of their things. And again, these are nice homes in nice neighborhoods. And because these people deserve a second chance in a nice neighborhood, in a nice home, because many have not experienced that. And those of us who have lost that over time, in the past lives that we have lived. But now is the chance to be a part of the community. And not only do these individuals, take care of what they have and are good neighbors, they go to the neighbors' yards and they help to take care of the neighbors' yards as well. And they get out in the community and do volunteer service, and they do what they can to be a part of the community and give back. And yes, we have individuals that are not so much participative, or houses that are not so much participative. But in that case, that's where the houses that are providing that support and also setting the example. And again, the majority of the houses that we have in the United States, they are working together to expand and to improve.
Right. Makes sense. And I guess the financial part of this too, it's such that when everyone's contributing to the rent or the mortgage, whatever it is, if they're renting from a landlord or they've purchased the home outright, or Oxford House has done that, those funds coming in are maybe a little bit in excess, so there's maybe a little cushion, a little extra money in an account to be able to pay for plumbing or whatever a repair might be, or a coat of paint or whatever that is as well. I mean, that's kind of also part of the manual.
So, as far as Oxford House, we don't purchase any homes.
I see.
We only ask if an investor can possibly purchase a home, and then they would rent the home out.
Okay.
In cases, but what we try to practice is to find a landlord that is willing to rent.
Okay.
Mainly because, again, these individuals that are moving into the house, we always keep an Oxford House for as long as possible. We don't ever want to move. Mm-hmm. So the houses that we open are not just going to be open temporarily. That's not our goal. They're to be open permanently. And so we look for long-term leases and that continuation of that relationship with the landlord and the house. And even though the same individuals might not be in that house a year later, that house is continuing with the same model, and the model works. The model has shown to work since 1975, and we've gone from one house in 1975 being self-supported the same way it is today and democratically run, to now having over 4,200 houses worldwide, and in a few other countries, and mostly here in the United States.
Right. Which includes 4 here in Farmington.
4 here in Farmington, and as a matter of fact, in the state of New Mexico, we currently have 26.
Wow.
There are houses in Las Cruces, houses in Albuquerque, one in Rio Rancho, and there's one that was just opened up in Roswell, which is a men's house.
Okay. Very good. Well, obviously there's a demand for the work that Oxford House does and the services that it provides for these individuals in these communities. I'm talking with Jeremiah Penland. He is the outreach worker for Oxford House here in Farmington and San Juan County. Jeremiah, we're just about out of time, but you were mentioning how it doesn't seem to be, let me rephrase that. It does seem to be that sometimes you'll have a fundraiser or things like that, and if a
Yes.
landlord is listening to us this morning and maybe has a property, could they reach out to you for maybe a future Oxford House or things like that? How does that all work?
All we require is communication.
Uh-huh.
And so if anyone wants to call me, you can call me at 575-224-9711. Also, my email is jeremiah.penland@oxfordhouse.org. And, we are here to help. We are not in competition with anyone. We just want to improve the quality of life in our community and help our community and be a part of the community.
Okay. And it sounds like there's some growth opportunities maybe too, because the need, I think, is large.
Absolutely.
In our community and a lot of others.
Yes.
Very good. Well, I really appreciate you coming in, sharing the work that you do, and thank you for sharing that with us this morning.
Thank you, Scott.
You bet. Appreciate it very much. That is Jeremiah Penland. He's from Oxford House, my guest here on KSJE. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.